Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3, back with another Kid King movie reaction review. I had one of the worst days of my entire life today, and two things got me through it. One, my wonderful friends who talked me through it afterwards, including my new friend Daisy, who is into these kind of films, shout out. And the second thing was the Guyver from 1991. I had just gotten it from Arrow Video, which is basically the only way you can get this movie right now, is from Arrow. It's not streaming anywhere. But the Guyver is a American 90s tokusatsu film pre-Power Rangers, which I thought was very interesting. I could have swore this came out after Power Rangers. But upon looking at the back of my Blu-ray, 1991. Pretty wild. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. They really want some of that Star Wars money. They do. We'll talk about that in a sec. It's got a 5 out of 10 on IMDb, 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. But despite those ratings, 91% of Google users like the movie, which is pretty overwhelming. I'm actually not going to read you the read-up on the... I'm not going to read you the read-up from where I usually get read-ups. I'm actually going to read it to you off the back of the Blu-ray box. Part human, part alien. Pure superpower. Mark Hamill... You know Mark Hamill from Star Wars. And the team behind the horror classic Reanimator, which I am going to review at some point, join forces for the electrifying live-action adaptation of Yoshiki Takaya's celebrated manga series. Having been smuggled out of the mysterious Kronos Corporation by one of its researchers, a bioweapon known as the Guyver unit, which transforms its holder into a lethal super being, ends up in the hands of Sean! Sorry, every time I read the word Sean, I think of Fallout 4. Sean! A young martial arts student. Sean soon finds himself in the sights of the Kronos Corporation and its mutant henchmen, who will stop at nothing to retrieve their treasured device. Produced by Brian Yunza, known for Society and Bride of Reanimator, and co-directed by special effects masters Screaming Mad George... Yep, that's his name. And Steve Wang. The Guyver is an FX-laden extravaganza featuring a host of familiar faces, including Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes and David Gale from Reanimator. Comes with a few special features, including a German trailer. It's called Mutonics in Europe, apparently. Don't watch the German trailer before you watch the film, because the German trailer is literally just a summary of the entire film. You even watch him defeat the bad guy in the trailer. It's insane. What a terrible trailer. But, yeah, the release date was March 18th, 1991. Once again, the directors were Screaming Mad George and Steve Wang. There is a sequel, which we'll cover at some point. It's adapted from Bio Booster Armor Guyver. The anime... of which is on Hulu. If you want to watch the Guyver anime, it's on Hulu. And I'll review it at some point, too. The budget was about $3 million. It's starring Mark Hamill as our top-billed actor, the CIA agent Max Reed. The only reason Mark Hamill is top-billed is because he was in Star Wars. That's it! That's the only reason. He should be, like, third build. Honest to God, he should be third build in this movie. But he's top build. Not cool. It's also starring Jack Armstrong as Sean, a.k.a. the Guyver. Vivian Wu, as the daughter of the scientist who, quote-unquote, liberated the Guyver. Michael Berryman's in it. Every time I hear his voice, like, it doesn't feel like it goes with his body. Michael Berryman's an enjoyable actor. I like him. It's got Jimmy Walker, Peter Spellos, Greg Young Pike, and David Gale, who's also kind of recognizable. This movie actually reminded me a lot of VR Troopers, but maybe I'll touch on that in my VR Troopers Season 2 review, if I can even finish Season 2, because I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. But Yeah, so the movie starts with the scientist trying to meet up with Mark Hamill. Well, actually, that's not how the movie starts. The movie starts the same way Star Wars starts, with an opening text crawl on top of footage of stars. Why does it start like that? Because Mark Hamill's in the movie, and they want you to think about Star Wars while you're watching it, because Star Wars was really popular. Yeah, they straight up rip off the opening crawl from Star Wars. It is narrated this time, and it's super lazy. It tells you, like, the history of the Guyver and the aliens and stuff. But the history of the Guyver and the aliens and etc. is explained via supervillain exposition towards the end of the film. So the opening crawl was completely unnecessary because everything in it is an exposition in the film. It's literally only there so that you remember fond memories of Star Wars and associate them with this movie, which is the same reason Mark Hamill is top billed. And I gotta show you guys something absolutely ridiculous. So Mark Hamill is a side character in this movie, basically. This is the poster for the film. Look at it. It's Mark Hamill's face alongside the Guyver's face. This does a little more than just imply that Mark Hamill is the Guyver. And why not just make Mark Hamill the Guyver? If you want people to think he's the Guyver to come see your film, just make him the Guyver! Christ! That's straight up false advertising, guys. That's false advertising. So yeah, the scientist gets murdered by people that can turn into monsters. And the Guyver kind of gets lost. Sean eventually finds it. And he kind of does this weird thing, right? Where, like, he's supposed to give our female lead, who's Asian, thankfully. At least there were some Asian people in this movie. Two of the most important characters were Asian. The Guyver himself should 100% have been Asian, but at least they tried to include Asian people in the film. It's not the only race thing that was a little problematic in here. Like, the casting a white actor as the Guyver was way less problematic than what they did with our black character in this film. But we, we'll get to that. So, Sean is supposed to give her a ride home from martial arts, which he's not particularly good at. Like, he's got the skill, but he can't stay focused. He gets distracted pretty easily. And there's no real overcoming of this at all in the film. He just kind of becomes invincible and a better fighter when he gets the Guyver. So there's not much in the way of character progression for anyone in the film. So he's supposed to give her a ride home, but she leaves with another guy. And he kind of follows them to a crime scene because her father was murdered, as I said. And then he goes to her apartment to see what was up and check on her. And then Mark Hamill's there and he thinks they're smashing and he kind of, like, runs off kind of upset. But I don't know why he would think that, because even, like, from the audience's point of view, it's very obvious he's a cop. But from his point of view, it should also be very obvious that this dude is a cop. Because he took her to a crime scene. And etc. Wild stuff. But, you know, it doesn't take long to get back to the monsters. All the monster transformations and suits are pretty cool. There are a couple suits that have, like, weird thin necks that don't look that good, but most of the suits are fantastic. I really love me some tokusatsu. You guys know I've reviewed a ton of Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, etc. on here. But yeah. So, we get these monsters, and so one of the people that can transform into one of the evil monsters is a African-American gentleman who is a huge hip-hop stereotype because this film is from the 90s, and every 90s film needs a big hip-hop character. Whoa! 90s! This film was 90s. It was 90s AF. It was so 90s I couldn't stand it. I was only around for the second half of the 90s, but this was a 90s movie. So, we... everyone transforms into like a really cool monster. But our hip-hop stereotype, when he transforms, he of course keeps all his hip-hop bling. And the other monsters have like cool, scary monster faces. But his face has like giant exaggerated lips and goofy eyes and big goofy teeth. And I was like, that's really not okay, man. That's not okay. All the other monsters get these cool creature looks, and then this guy is the goofy looking one. And spoiler alert, he's the only one that survives, and they set him up to be in the sequel at the end. There also was kind of a reveal at the end about, this is another spoiler, some CIA agents that I called. I called that the other CIA agents who didn't believe Mark Hamill were in on it. I called that. So, they they kind of fight off these monsters, and the Guyver is defeated because it's the first big monster versus Guyver fight of the movie. So he's either going to win it and it be relatively inconsequential, or he's going to lose it. And he loses it. And eventually, like, the BBEG comes out, and he, like, reveals his evil plan to, our female lead. He's doing all his very just normal, evil, bad guy stuff. And then there's another big fight at the end. The Guyver kills, like, all but one of the monsters. And then, okay, so the final form of our main villain is, like, this awesome dinosaur monster thing with, like, these big antlers, and I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my god, someone make adult collectible figures from this movie, please. It was so cool. Oh my lord. I loved it. It's some really cool looking monsters. Oh man. But yeah, eventually he beats it. If you know anything about the Guyver, you can probably guess how he beats the BBEG. That means Big Bad Evil Guy, in case you're wondering. In case you don't play TTRPGs. Tabletop role-playing games. Yeah, I knew how he was going to beat him because I've seen the anime. Well, not the entire anime, but like the first half. I'll finish it and review it soon enough. Probably even sooner now that I've seen this. But, I mean, it was a very fun film. And it wasn't as serious as I thought it would be. And that kind of really helped improve my mood. Because I went into this film in a very bad mood. Like, very, very bad mood. And I came out happy. This is a good film. It's a fun film. You know, technically, maybe it's not the best film. You know, like, the practical effects are dope. They're awesome. The choreography of the fights actually really does leave something to be desired. I'm used to Toku choreography being much, much better than this, and if this show was post-Power Rangers, it probably would have been. They probably would have put more budget into this movie if it was post-Power Rangers, to be completely honest. But I mean, like, it had its silly moments, but the silly moments didn't subtract from the more serious moments. It was fun. It was just a fun film, you know? I think all cult, tokusatsu, like sci-fi, monster-y fans of any of those things, you should definitely check out The Guyver. Because it's awesome. It's so much fun! I really liked how it was adapted. You know, I'm a sucker for Toku and monsters, which usually go hand in hand. But this is a film I've been wanting to see for a long time, and I'm very happy that I was finally able to score this really cool copy with, like, reversible cover and special features combo pack thing from Arrow. Really good. So that's it for The Guyver. I do give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's so fun. Really, really enjoyable film. Definitely check it out. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. I will be reviewing the sequel. I don't know when, but I will be. Also, at the time of recording this, WandaVision Episode 5 came out the day I'm recording this. So I'm still working on WandaVision, and I will get you a review after it is complete. And it should be complete by the time this video's up. WandaVision should be over, so it should be coming soon enough. And I got Hal from Beyond the Fog coming as well. So that's it. Thank you all once again. See y'all next time.